You've written that Husnu said for himself, no one figure me out. How do you interpret that?
I don't think he wanted to be put into a box for people to think he was this way or that way. He was bigger than life. I mean, he didn't want to be categorized as a certain religion or a certain way of being. He just was coming from spirit, really.
Do you have any comment on that, Jeff?
Well, he's a very emotional person and also a very intellectual person. And when those two are combined, the result was he has a very broad perspective that transcended the individual boundaries of any particular teachings, because he studied these various teachings and influences, spiritual influences, and understood them and used them to take the next step. And he was always moving on to the next step, right through the end.
Now we'd like to introduce you Husnu with his own words.
I was born in Turkey, but I was, moved around as a child. I lived in France. My mother is French. And I lived in Switzerland. I went to school in Switzerland. I went to school in Austria. I went to the Mozarteum, which is a beautiful, as you would know, a wonderful music school. And I came here when I was 16 to the United States.
Let's hear his one of wonderful performances. I am one with all. Could you elaborate on that, Ray?
Whether Husnu was meditating or playing the piano or teaching or being an empathetic friend, he was coming from a place of no ego. And for that I characterized him as being one with all.
So that is actually your perception of
Yes.
Husnu.
Yes, he never said that about himself. He's too modest too.
What about Jeff? What would you like to add on this comment?
Well, he was very self-aware and accepted all his contradictory emotions and thoughts that we all as humans have. And he used that as a reference to understand other people and prescribe, ways of working themselves out of their own problems. And almost all the times it was a good reference point. So I think he really was able to identify with anybody who had, from all the walks of life that had crossed his path, and contribute to their lives by using himself. So in that sense, all those are one with him.
Where he was graduated in Istanbul from the Robert College, he always was very appreciative of that. Would you please elaborate on that?
He attended boarding school when he was a young person, and he felt almost abandoned by his parents because they had put him in boarding school all his life, and he didn't have that nurturing and love that most children need from their parents. So it was a painful experience in many ways, but he also gained a great amount from it because he gained a lot of experience and blessings from this experience because he had to, it put him in a search for truth.